Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In most traditions in India, the appearance day of the Guru is observed on a day called Guru Purnima. It's usually in, I think, June or July. And in most all other sampradayas in Hindu culture, the Guru's appearance day of all of them is observed on this day called Guru Purnima. But in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, there is a slightly different approach. Actually, the approach to Guru in Gaudiya Vaishnavism is slightly yet significantly different than in any other sampradaya that we know of. And there are only 4 Vaishnava sampradayas, and then there is the Shankar sampradaya. Outside of that, there are no other sampradayas. Buddha is not sampradaya. And so many other religions and so many things that we see today, many gurus here and there, but actually they are not guru, and they do not belong to a sampradaya. The most important feature we can say is that Guru must be in bona fide parampara. This was a point that Srila Prabhupada used to emphasize repeatedly. Guru must be in parampara. And what is the parampara? It must be the succession of the devotees of Krishna. And as I summarized the other day, on Janmashtami, if one is not a devotee of Krishna, he cannot be Guru, no matter how enlightened he may be, no matter how many mystic powers he may have, know how much of the future he may be able to predict. One is not Guru unless he is devotee of Krishna. So the devotees of Krishna are described throughout the Vedas and Puranas, the Mahabharata, everywhere they're described. And Rupa Goswami, or no, I think Rupa Goswami also, but in Caitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Goswami, Kaviraj Goswami, he summarized 26 main characteristics of the devotees of Krishna. And one who has these 26 characteristics is considered to be a pure devotee of Krishna. But it is not simply by developing these qualities that one becomes a pure devotee. These have been selected as 22 excellent qualities for the human being, and one who is pure devotee of Krishna, he will automatically manifest these 26 qualities. Therefore, they are known as 26 qualities of a pure devotee. And I'm going to read them. And Srila Prabhupada used to say, you should look to yourself to see how much you have developed these qualities. Do you have any of these qualities? Do I have any of these qualities? Don't answer that question. But these are the 26 characteristics or qualities of the pure devotee. One is that he is kind to everyone. That is called Kripalu. Now, unfortunately, some sadhus take this name Kripalu, which means kind to everyone, but actually they are cheating everyone because they are not really a devotee of Krishna. The pretenders will take always the biggest names available: Jagat Guru, Rasika, Paramahansa, whatever big title is out there. Generally, the cheaters, they'll try for the biggest title they can get, or 2, 3, or all of them, you see. When actually, they may not even deserve any of them, even the title Dasa, which means servant. One who thinks he's the highest is quite commonly the lowest in spiritual life. And one who thinks himself the lowest is on the right path and may very well be approaching the higher destination or the perfection. It is like a mirror image. The mirror image is always backwards. It is always backwards. So advancement in spiritual life is like that. And even in the highest stage of love of God, love hides itself, does not display itself. And in Vrindavan, you can find so many people, they are quickly to display the symptoms, so-called symptoms of love of Krishna: crying, shivering, shaking, trembling, faltering the voice, different types of things like that. They are quickly to display these things. But real love conceals itself. It does not display itself. And thusly the symptoms of love of God, which are mentioned in the scriptures, such as crying and all these things, they're rarely seen, not daily seen. Were they daily seen, then probably that person needs some Ayurvedic medicine for the eyes, so the eyes will stop watering. Rarely seen, not daily seen. See? Because love actually hides itself. It does not display itself. And where it displays itself in human society, we take that as not very proper. If boy and girl are seen standing on the street, they're embracing on the street in some public place. What is this? This is a lower class of thing, isn't it? It's not accepted in a civilized society. Love hides itself, not shows itself, you see. But this cheap thing is going on. The displays of love. So such persons take high names like Kripalu and such, which means kindness and so forth. But actually they are most unkind because they are cheating. So the first characteristic of the devotee of Krishna is he is kind to everyone. He does not quarrel with anyone. He is krita droha, does not quarrel. When it says one should not argue with a fool. If a person is intelligent, the devotees may be found to, because someone will say, oh, we are all God. But why you should argue with them? You simply go. No, this is wrong. Kindness means try to correct them. So the devotee will speak, sir, where you got this information, I don't know. But it is not the standard of Vedic knowledge. It is not the standard of Acharya. Think deeply, sir, it is not. If it's not true, you know this yourself. You are not God. Then that person begins to argue in so many foolish ways. At a point, the devotee realizes, oh, I'm speaking to a fool. Then he just remains silent and he goes away. He does not quarrel. Then it becomes quarrel. Every small, when knowledge is presented against ignorance, that is not a quarrel. That is preaching. But at a point, when it is argued with ignorance, then you are simply wasting your time, and then you may enter into what's called quarreling. No party will win. Just bickering back and forth. So the devotees of Krishna have no taste for such things. They'll just simply go away from such a situation. He is fixed, his third quality is, he is fixed in the absolute truth. He is satya sara, fixed in the absolute truth. I once read some historian's commentator on the Rig Vedic civilization. Although they had not studied it archaeologically, they were studying it from the point of literature, and he said, he was explaining why there were no really cross-references in history where they could pinpoint the Vedic civilization, the Rig Vedic civilization. Because the people of those civilizations, they rarely kept history. They didn't write histories. Already the history was so old. Not like today. You want to know what temperature it was last year on this day? They've recorded it. Prior to the British occupation of India, Indians were not so much concerned with such kind of recordings. Now they record everything, rainfall, temperature. They were really into recording. And they found it very frustrating. They couldn't cross-reference history to pinpoint certain things about the Vedic or the Rig Vedic civilization. So this one man, in his writing, he said, yes, the Indians, they were not much interested in historical records. They were preoccupied with the absolute truth. And the way he said it is as if that was a bad thing. They should better be occupied with the newspaper print today. The corporal, temporary world, they should have been more concerned with this world, and don't pay so much attention to this infinity, the infinite life. Don't pay attention to that. But that is the quality of a pure devotee. He is fixed and pays great attention to the absolute truth. The finite world is destined to destruction. Beyond this world, there is an infinite world, the absolute world. There presides the absolute truth. And as particles of the Absolute Truth, as parts and parcels of Krishna, we are to concern ourselves majorly for the Absolute Truth, and then accept whatever is necessary to maintain body and soul together in this lifetime. But the materialist sees this as a negative quality. They say, and even I have heard devotees say, sometimes after living in the temple for many years, they go out into the world, they get a job, and then they come back and say something that, I'm facing the reality. I'm getting a job and I'm buying a house and everything. And I tell them, this is not the reality. The ashram is the reality. Depend on Krishna, that is the reality. Putting money in the bank for your future is an illusion. Your future is infinite. So how much money you can put in the bank for your future? It is some temporary solution to the problem. So that is not reality. That is not dealing with reality. That is dealing with illusion. But when we're in illusion, illusion looks like reality, and reality looks like illusion. Just the opposite. Sometimes people say, well, the brahmachari really has no security. It could be thrown out of the ashram at any minute. Anything could happen. Brahmachari has no security. But if I get a job, I get a family, I have children, there I can structure some security. But just a few months ago, we found one lady on this road. And I asked, why this lady is living on my road? So we gave her food, prasad, we gave her blankets, not even sure, talked to her. Her family had just driven her some long distance and dropped her. And again drove off. And just dropped the old lady somewhere. When you walk on the road in India, when you drive on the road, you find so many crazy people walking the road. Sometimes they have no clothes or whatever. How'd they get out there? Somebody dropped them out there. Their family dropped them out there. So what is that? Is that security? Where is security? Actually, we invest in this world. That is not security. It's false security. If I have so many lakhs in the bank, I may think, oh, now I'm secure. I guess you've never heard of banks going bankrupt. Companies going bankrupt. Stock markets crashing. You can lose everything in a second. But I have yet to hear that one who invested in Krishna means put his faith in Krishna. Krishna took away that faith. I've yet to hear that happen yet. Oh, I've heard of problems. I've even heard of devotees being killed or dying untimely. But I have never heard that Krishna withdrew from his devotee. The proof of Krishna is not that we have good health. Bhaktivinoda Thakur at one point in his life suffered greatly from arthritis. He could not get cured from a very painful type of arthritis. So someone may think, oh, he's devotee of Krishna, why he's suffering? Because that's the nature of this world. And the nature of devotees, they may come here and suffer along with everybody else just to spread Krishna consciousness, just to help other living entities get out of the illusion. Like our friend, what's his name, Sanjay Khan. This thing was burning, this fire was there in the cinema thing in Chennai, and he kept running into the fire to save other people. And he burned himself quite severely. It took many years to recover, almost died himself. So that is what? That is a mark of a real hero or something. Willing to suffer along with the people to save the people. Well, that's what happens when the devotees come into this world. They may also manifest some suffering. But because they are not identified with the body, they're not thinking, I am this body. My home is this world. Even they may pass through the sufferings of this world, they're actually not suffering. Not as we conditioned souls. We suffer and we lament our suffering. And we sometimes become bitter with God, even with Krishna, because of suffering. Why this happened to me? Why this happened to me? We forget, oh, we've been chanting a few rounds in this lifetime for a few years, but we forgot. We were in Akbar's army in a previous life. We may have been an attendant in Auschwitz in a previous life. We may have given suffering to so many other living beings. What, do you think you were Agastya Muni in your last life? Vishishta? Where you were? We don't know. But if we were somewhere in this world, well, saints are few and far between. So probably we did some wrong. And therefore we are suffering for that. So we have no one to blame for this except ourselves. We cannot blame God for this. We cannot blame Krishna. So the devotee is fixed in the absolute truth. He is equal to everyone. Sama. He does not take sides in petty arguments. He is not racially biased. What is the color of our skin? Which country we are born into? He is equal to everyone. He does not prejudge or prejudice against anyone. That is called sama. He is faultless. Nidosa. He has no faults. Faultless. One of the greatest faults that there is finding the faults of others. So one who is equal to others automatically has no fault. No faults. And one who is finding the faults of others is always increasing his own faults. Because when you point one finger, 3 fingers point back. And there is a saying in Vaishnavism, be wary of the faults of others, because the faults you find may soon become your own. You see? I used to criticize fat people. I still criticize fat people. Now look at this. Getting fat. The devotee is charitable, vadanya. He is very charitable. Means that he will give and help others. Although it said the sage sees with equal vision the living, those who are dying, the sick, those who are held, he doesn't see the bodily condition. Nonetheless, charitable to others has 2 folds. 1, he will do the greatest benefit work, which is to give them Krishna consciousness. 2, he will also help them in their material distress. Not that he will just always ignore their material distress. Once in Mayapur, in Sridham Mayapur, at the temple where Prabhupada was living, Chandradoya Mandir, the ISKCON temple, after having his lunch meal, and he used to have a very quite decent prasad all the time. Very good. Always cooked in ghee. We cooked for him on cow dung or wood, not gas. Never gas, and not, this is in India, and not gas, and not, what's this thing called? Kerosene. Oh, never kerosene. Only cooking on wood or cow dung. Huh? And devotees would make special, pay special attention every day to make things which were very palatable for him. So you can say, yes, he ate very nicely every day. And after taking his lunch prasadam one day, he was walking on his veranda and he came to the edge and he looked down and there were children digging into the waste bin. But after all the devotees who eat on the paper plates, they'll throw over the wall, just like here. We throw over the wall, the dogs come and they eat some prasad there. So these plates are thrown into one bin. We used to call that the pig ashram because the pigs would come and eat there. And there were children there. There were 3 or 4 children picking up the plates and licking and taking food. In their mind, food. Of course, it's prasad, but they're eating from the trash. And he was very disturbed by this. And he began to cry to see that type of suffering. In the land of Mahaprabhu, he said, why anyone should be hungry. Then he started feeding thousands of people every week in Mayapur. I don't know, maybe it still goes on today, 35 years later. And he saw that why anyone should be hungry. And actually he saw that for the world. Why anybody is hungry anywhere in the world. So because we are cooking in the temple, we are giving prasad to people. That is our habit. We'll always offer to Krishna. We don't give just plain food. But if people have no food, we will also give food and help people. So that is the characteristic. Always charitable. Spiritually towards the soul, and also help those who are suffering, if possible. But simply to help them and not tell them why they're suffering, that's not really full help. That's only part of the problem. So when he started prasad distribution, there will also be kirtan at that time. And for those who want to listen, there'll be some loudspeaker speaking in Bengali and giving some lecture, some knowledge to the people, proper behavior and how to live in the life. Because people do create their own suffering by their misbehavior and wrong actions. The seventh quality is he is mild. Mridu, mild. Not acidic. Although acidic may also have its use. There are many things that aren't in this list they also use for Krishna. In fact, there's one, Champakalata, I think. One of the associates of Radharani, or which one? Maybe. But one of, it's not one, several. Their words are very acidic, very critical of who? Of Krishna. They're criticizing Krishna. Acidic. They are described as being very acidic in their speech and criticizing Krishna. That he doesn't know his real fortune. That's another subject. Jatila was very acidic and critical, always criticizing who? Radharani. Bad. But the devotees are not acidic. They're very mild-mannered people. Very mild in their behavior. Suchi, clean. The devotee is always clean. Mind, body, soul, intelligence, always suchi, always clean. Now in Western countries they say cleanliness is next to godliness. And Prabhupada said, no, that is not true. Cleanliness is godliness. It is one of the qualities of Krishna also. Krishna is very clean. So if you go around and visit temples in India, there is a marked difference between the impersonalist, Mayavad, and the Vaishnava temples. And one of those differences is, that I've marked, is cleanliness. The devotees of Vishnu, the devotees of Krishna, they're more personally concerned about such things as cleanliness. And the impersonalist, and when everything is one, what's the difference between dirt and clean? There isn't any. It's all one. And so they slack in so many things where the devotees will raise to the occasion of what? Service. See, when everything is one, where's the service? There cannot be service when everything is one. There must be a master and a servant. Then there can be service. Otherwise, there's no service in a Mayavadi ashram. People throw that word around very cheaply, but there is no service. There is no such thing as government service. What is that? There's no master there. There's only the payroll clerk. There's only the manager in charge. There is no real master. Master means Krishna. Master means Vishnu. That their service can be found. So there we'll find this difference, cleanliness. It is a characteristic of the devotees of the Supreme Lord. Suchi. Akinchana, simple, not complicated. You'll always hear devotees say, no, this is too complicated. Overcomplicated. Overcomplicated also means too much endeavor. We want something, either personally or collectively. Like trying to get a new vehicle or something like that, or trying to build something, build some temple. It just becomes too much. And then the devotee may say, no, this is too complicated. This is over-endeavor. There's a fine line. Where is earnest endeavor to please Krishna, and where is over-endeavor? Over-endeavor is not a quality of the devotee of Krishna. Endeavor will be very rigorous, but we'll be able to see the hand of Krishna in the arrangement. We sat here for 7 years. We were going to build a library. Then it never got built. Well, then we finally got up and did something, and it got built. We were planning on paper, and this is how much we need, but nobody moved. Nobody budged. And then one day, I pulled out some rupees from, somewhere, and we started digging a hole. There's a picture of it. Vishnu Maharaj and somebody standing we dug about 10 feet of the trench. And then the work just simply went on, it was done. Now, we've been talking about building a guest house suitable for guests for about 3 years. Now, Rup Manohar, Sarva Shakti, we're going to pull some rupees from somewhere, and it's going to start. And if we are sincere, it will just go all the way to its completion. We will see the hand of Krishna. How, if we endeavor earnestly, then it will happen. But sometimes we think we're endeavoring for Krishna, and we are not. We are not. We may think we want to do something, and we will try so hard for that, and it just won't happen. Or so many problems keep getting in the way. Then then we will say, no, because we're not sincere, no, because we're not sincere, because we think only if it's big, it is pleasing to Krishna. This is a mistake. It may be medium, maybe small, maybe big, maybe very big. But by our earnest endeavor, we will then see the hand of Krishna and how it will happen. Then we can say yes. But when we're always facing difficulty, trying to do something, then we come back and say, this is over endeavor. Too much endeavor, Krishna doesn't want it. And we have a plan for Switzerland, to have an ashram in Switzerland. The devotee said, what's your plan? I said, plans? I have so many plans. But we will see whether Krishna likes any of my plans or not as we endeavor to do this. If it happens, then we can assume that Krishna favored the plan, and by his grace it will happen. And if it doesn't, at a point, I will tell the devotees involved, this is over endeavor for us. It is not where we're meant to be, and we'll come back from that. Simple. Benevolent. Sarvo Pratkaraka. Benevolent. Benevolent is a very subtle quality. It's very far-reaching. When you yourself are harmed by someone, and actually that person deserves to be punished, deserves to be chastised, you may tolerate that. You may say, no need to chastise. That's very gracious, very kind. But then you may do something to benefit that person in some way, and someone will say, oh, it's too much benevolent, too much kind is benevolent. Lot of kindness. It's easy to be kind to your friends. Try your enemies. That's a little more difficult. Those who can even be kind to their enemies, they're benevolent. Peaceful, shanta. I always criticize this one, because people misunderstand shanti. They think that shanti means to sit down and do nothing, accept all abuses and all these things. That is not the meaning of shanti, of peaceful. To be peaceful means to be happy within what Krishna has given you. To accept what Krishna has given you and be satisfied with that and within that. And once there was a man, he came to Vrindavan, and he could see that the people in, but actually it was in Lowy Bazaar, and one shopkeeper who's a friend, he stopped and he said, Maharaj, can you speak to this man? And he's come to Vrindavan from Delhi, and he spent a few days in Vrindavan. And the whole of Vrindavan, he couldn't understand what was going on in Vrindavan. There are widows in Vrindavan, and there are poor people in Vrindavan, and there are rich people in Vrindavan. There are all these different things going on in Vrindavan. And he just couldn't figure it out. And then he came to the point about, no, Vrindavan should be peaceful. People should be peaceful in Vrindavan. So that, I hate this. This means Mayavadi. So he's coming out with a Mayavadi idea about peaceful. So I started telling him, I never heard that when Krishna is tending cows, Mother Yasoda is peaceful all day long. She's not peaceful all day long. She's in anxiety all day long. That if there are any demons coming to the forest, if anything happens to Krishna in the forest, the gopis are not peaceful all day long. They're in anxiety. When Krishna's friends don't see Krishna, they're not peaceful. They become disturbed. They're in anxiety. And as I started telling this, a bunch of these widow ladies and a few bubbas, and all of a sudden there was about 15 people listening to me. Most of them didn't know English, but they were just going back and forth, watching me tell this man that peace. In Vrindavan, we are not interested in peace. And I looked at everybody and I said, is that right? And everybody, Haribol! I don't know if they understood what I was saying, but this thing, peace, has been jaded by Mayavadi. That you don't do anything. God will feed you, simply sit down and do nothing. Oh no. This is Mayavadi. You endeavor, God will feed you. So, being satisfied with what Krishna gives us, that is to be peaceful. Completely attached to Krishna. We have many attachments in this world, and there is nobody who can say they don't have some attachments. But then Krishna will present himself, which one you're more attached to, me or your cricket. Like I tell the story when Kunja Bihari joined the ashram, he and his brother, Kirtanananda, they made a choice as young boys to join in the ashram. And in their age, everybody's playing cricket in school, everybody's playing cricket. People are even playing cricket when they're not playing cricket. The boys walk down the street going like this, pretending like they're throwing the ball, don't they? Right? They just go like this. You see these guys who are going like this. You go, what's this kid doing? Swimming? Oh, he swims. No. He's bowling. He's doing that, right? And in any neighborhood, always the kid who has the wicket and the bat, everyone's running over to his house. Come on, let's play cricket. So who has the equipment, he's naturally sought out by others, and especially has good equipment. So after some time I came to know Kunja Bihari and Kirtanananda. They had a very first class set. They had the ball, the wicket, the bats, they had everything. And they liked to play cricket. But they gave that up, and they gave away their set, and they came to join with the ashram. So they're children, but many of us are adults. There are 10 offenses in chanting the holy name. The last offense, and it is actually the most difficult one to stay away from, and that is to remain materially attached in this world. Even after having received so many instructions that this attachment is not good. This attachment is the cause of suffering. This attachment leads to our death. If we keep hearing this and chanting the holy name, but keep our attachment, then we'll go down in our chanting of the name, we'll go down in our service to Krishna. That doesn't mean everybody come here and empty out your bank balance and leave your car in the parking lot and give up everything. That is not detachment. That may be foolishness. But if Krishna calls on you to do something, to give something, and in the end, and only you know, he knows and you know, that because of some selfishness, you don't give to Krishna, you give to yourself or your extended self, then that is attachment. That is putting some attachment in front of Krishna. So there's a way to practice how to protect from the attachments to this world. There's a way of practicing. There's a way of living life. For example, whatever you eat in your home should be offered to Krishna, unless for some reason it's not an offerable thing. But even if you're having biscuit and things like that, like whatever, these Mary biscuit and things like that, you don't offer to Krishna in the temple, but in the home where you may only have photos, it may be a better practice to also make that offering. At least you're practicing giving everything to Krishna. You see? But in the temple, you cannot offer biscuits to Krishna, because he only wants what's cooked by devotees. But the point is that, we have to learn to give to Krishna. And that's a practicing thing, you see. What are we attached to more than anything in this world? Money. Plain and simple. The world runs for money. Wars are created for money. People are dying every day because of money. The more you have of it, the more you should give to Krishna. Proportionate. It's the only way to protect yourself. Otherwise, you become very attached to money. And if you have a lot of money, actually, I don't think Krishna cares for you. Look at the people who are rich in this world. When I was in Europe, I saw so much money. People living in such a way. And then I thought, I guess Krishna doesn't care much about money. Look who he gives it to. That's that guy, Kingfisher. Maya, he has more money. He can pay us 1 crore, one person on our head if he wants. He can cook his lunch with 1,000 rupee notes. Maybe he does. Just burns the notes and cooks his roti. Problem is, he doesn't eat rotis. All bad habits, all non-veg, all bad habits, and crores of money. So think what you should be after in life. Money? Money is not a very important thing to Krishna. Look who he gives it to. But if he has given you some, and the more he gives you, then you should think, what's happening to me? I'm getting richer and richer. Better I give this back to Krishna. That's the way to live peacefully in this world. More attached to Krishna than to anything else. The devotee of Krishna has no material hankering, akama. He doesn't hanker for anything material. He is satisfied with what Krishna has given, automatically, not hankering. There is nothing worse than wanting something and you can't have it. That is so painful. In the heart, you want something. In the mind, you want something. And you can't get it. It's just, even it's not your karma to get it. That's so suffering. That's so much suffering. One famous bank robber in the United States was asked, why do you rob banks? He said, that's where the money is. He only wants money. Nothing else in life, just money. And he said, they got it, I'm going there. And he killed people and he robbed and he stole money. Money, money, money. Only he wants money. He can kill for money. Can't be peaceful without getting money. And go at do anything to get money. Meek. Aniha. Sanskrit aniha. Meek. The devotee of Krishna is meek and humble. He's not proud. I spoke to a man the other day. He was so proud of everything he's doing. He was even proud of his business card. He was proud of his logo. He was so proud of everything. He was proud that he was in a car accident and didn't have to pay any money to the person that he hit. So proud of everything. Probably didn't have any of these qualities about him. And probably he could cook with 500 rupee notes. But many people don't have meekness, they have pride, but they're not all bad. Mostly people are mixed. They have some good, some bad qualities. The devotional service means focus on serving Krishna and develop all good qualities. Not say, well, I have some bad qualities. We just have to accept that too, and because I have a few good ones. No. We should try to eliminate the bad ones and focus on the good ones. Steady. The wind is fickle. The wind blows and stops. Just like Janmashtami Day, it was blowing like anything in the day, and night time it stopped. The wind is fickle. Many things are like that. They are not steady. They cannot be depended upon. A devotee is steady. Stira. Stira means steady. Or sometimes we use the word nishta also. Fixed and steady in that way. Who is steady, we can depend on. Some people are a friend, but when we call on them in friendship, they're not ready. Because they're not steady in their friendship. So first the devotee is steady in service to Krishna. Prabhupada showed this. Right up to literally the last breath in his life, he was steady in his service to Guru and Krishna. Setting an example for the devotees. Self-control. Vijita Shraddha Guna. Self-control. Most of us in this world are controlled by the modes of nature. We're made fool by the mind. We make the wrong decisions. The senses are driving us to do so many things. No control. No control of mind. No control of senses. No control of intellect or intelligence. And no control of self. So if you are self-controlled, then automatically you're in control of your intelligence, your mind, and senses. And ultimately, what does that mean? You use everything to serve Krishna. This is self-control. Mayavadis have no self-control, therefore they are always fasting, sometimes living only on water, sometimes not even taking water. They're eating very, very little because they have no self-control. But the Vaishnavas are feasting on prasadam. They're taking good Krishna prasadam, and this way they are serving Krishna. They are serving Krishna by engaging their senses in Krishna's service, taking prasadam, singing and dancing. But the Mayavadi thinks these people have no self-control. Because they think self-control is take nothing, do nothing, say nothing, sing nothing, dance not everything, nothing, then you are in control. Then you become nothing. But one good quality of the Vaishnavas, when they say nothing, we love it. It's a good quality. Please, say nothing. Because all that comes out of your mouth is a distraction. Say nothing. Mona. This is the last quality. Moni. Mona. We'll get down to that. The devotee also has this quality, but it has a different meaning. Devotee does not eat more than required. Mita book. Mita book means he takes prasadam, but while eating prasadam, he's not thinking, oh, I might not get lunch, so let me eat a little more. He does not eat more than is required. And I know quite a few devotees, Vaishnavas in my life, they won't ask for anything, even in the prasadam hall, unless it comes in front of them to serve. They won't say, oh, I'll have some more subject. They just practice like that. And I have seen also many people, if they're coming and the pot is almost empty, they won't take the last from the pot. Even while going sometime after to get prasadam, and there's only this much left, I know devotees who practice, they won't take the last. Why should take the last? Maybe somebody didn't get it. Maybe somebody else wants it. I mean, that's not like a rule, but I have seen many people practice that at different times. You know? Not to take more. More ultimately means another person's quota. And that's what's going on in the world. The United States of America consumes 70% of the energy of the whole world. Therefore, there are people in the world who don't have enough. There are even people in that country who don't have enough. And they don't care, actually, because they have no good qualities. They'll take more than they need and even destroy food rather than give it free to other people. Yearly, wheat is destroyed, milk is destroyed daily in many countries around the world rather than making it available free to people. In Western countries, the government will not plant mango trees on the side of the road. That'd be good. Actually, government should plant fruit trees on the sides of roads, and that should be free food for people. Food. Food! Food should be so close to free, almost free. But what do? They don't. They don't do those types of things. In this place called Florida, they grow coconut trees, but as soon as the coconuts come out, they climb the tree and they pluck them off. And they throw them in the waste. Well, the reason they do it, if that coconut falls and hits somebody in the head, then those people will sue the government for $100 million. So you see coconut trees, but no coconuts. So that place is what we call a lost civilization. They have lost it. They don't know anymore what is the purpose of life, if they ever did. A devotee is sane. Sane. Now that seems strange. Sane means you're not crazy. Well, why should this be a quality of devotees? Because everybody in the world is more or less crazy. Now, Prabhupada used to quote this case in Allahabad, or Lucknow, and they were trying to free one murderer on the basis that he was crazy, and therefore he committed the murder. So he went for a psychiatric examination. Still this goes on today. And the doctor came back and he said, well, I mean, more or less everybody's crazy, he said. It just depends upon how crazy you are. And Prabhupada wrote a small little book long back in 1965 called Who's Crazy? Because it came in the newspaper, these Hare Krishna people shaved their head, they put on some funny looking bed sheets, they paint up on their face, and they go out and singing and dancing in the street. They are crazy people. So Prabhupada wrote a counter-argument. Who's crazy? And his point was, if you're not utilizing this human form of life to serve Krishna, you are crazy. You're completely crazy. Because at the end of life, you're guaranteed to lose everything. And probably descend into the animal kingdom, de-evolution, and go back into the kingdom of evolution and be born in so many species of life, to be chopped by the butcher, to be eaten by the snake, and all this suffering. But if you serve Krishna, you can have eternal life with Krishna and his associates in the family of Krishna. Eternal life. Anyone who will not take it must be crazy. That was his point. Who does not serve Krishna, he's a crazy fellow. So that means a devotee is sane. And he's sane about ordinary things. These people go all... One guy bumps another guy, 50 people come, they want blood. They're crazy. A devotee is sane. Look, this happened, let us do this properly. Let us see about this. They're sane in their behavior. And people are extreme in their behaviors. So, then, next quality is the devotee is respectful. Devotee is respectful to everyone. That does not mean that he takes the association of everyone. Association must be chosen correctly. But you should be, and we all should be respectful to everyone. All living entities deserve respect. But simply association, that we cannot offer, that we cannot take to associate. Sometime Prabhupada would come out of his temple in Vrindavan, and there'd be some hookah babas there. Sadhus with the hookah, smoking hashish and ganja. So, a few times he came out, and those babas would stick the hookah thing up in the air. Babaji, have some smoke. No, thank you. He would be respectful. One day a Mayavadi came to see. Prabhupada came into his room, and it was obvious he was a Mayavadi, zebra. And the devotees, 2-3 devotees, they just stood there. And then Prabhupada was upset with him. He told, you offer your obeisances to him. He's a sannyasi. They were thinking, oh, he's Mayavadi. We don't care for Mayavadi. So we give respect. We cannot accept their knowledge, we cannot accept their association, but some respect is given. So the devotee of Krishna is respectful to everyone. Humble, I mentioned meek and humble. Humble means to accept the order of Krishna. Humble means to accept the order of Guru. That is humility. Other things are like shadow humility. Therein lies the real humility. To accept the order of Krishna and Guru. That is to be humble. Oh, that someone pushes us and we don't do anything. That is only the shadow of humility. Not real humility. Grave, Gambhira. Devotee is Gambhira. The room where Mahaprabhu lived in Puri is called Gambhira. Gambhira also means very deeply mysterious. Mahaprabhu's pastimes in that room cannot be understood by ordinary living beings. They cannot even be understood by many high-class devotees. Only the highest class of devotees could get admittance into that area where Mahaprabhu's pastimes were going on. They are too much deep and too much personal, and they are not even for many high-class devotees, what to speak of for ordinary devotees. So even when Mahaprabhu, what he may do, what he may say, what he may experience, it sometimes is not accessible to even great devotees, what to speak of Krishna Lila? Then how is it that people can think that all of Krishna is accessible and offerable to everyone? That is not possible. That is not possible. So very grave. Devotee is very grave, very serious. That does not mean he's never happy. In fact, I can show you one picture. Prabhupada is sitting and he's laughing. But if you look what he's holding, he's looking at pictures of hell. And he's laughing. That is difficult to understand. He's looking at pictures of people being eaten by birds and boiled in oil, and he's laughing because he knows this is actually not true. This is not reality. This is an illusion. And he knows that when people see this, they're going to get a shock. They should get a shock so that they wake up and understand that if they don't change their way, yes, this is waiting. Some suffering is waiting. Compassionate, karuna. Devotee is always compassionate. People's ignorance, their misbehavior, all these things are contemptible. They're contemptible. And the law of nature has no compassion. Do you think people, everybody likes to worship Durga? Durga means the material energy. Fire is part of the material energy. In the home, if a small child falls into the fire, what will happen? Be burned. The hot water spoils onto the child, the hot milk. If he walks into the street, the earth, this is all material energy. Will there be any mercy? There be any compassion? There'll be none. Material nature, Durga, knows no compassion. She acts according to the law, to the letter, and beyond. No compassion in this world. Only the devotees can show compassion, and only Krishna shows compassion. Devas cannot be compassionate. They simply act within the letter of the law of which they themselves are under. Devas are not compassionate. Devas cannot be merciful. Krishna and Krishna's devotees alone. Therefore, the next quality is natural. Devotee is friend to everyone. We should consider the devotees of Krishna to be our dear friends, and our Guru to be our dearmost friend. Guru and Krishna, Guru and the Sadhu, the Vaishnavas, the devotees, these are our true friends. Not the people of this world who do not know about Krishna. They cannot actually be our true friend. The devotee is poetic. Does not always write poetry, but is poetic nonetheless. He may write poetry, he may give poetic expression to philosophy and Krishna, poetic examples, and so forth. Poetic means also artistic. Artistic. That's called kavi, the poet. He is expert. Prabhupada used to say the quality of expert means he does it right the first time. When we were making Jagannath deity, remember? That was expertly done. It simply happened. There was no second chance. It happened, that was expert. That was so expert, I thought, we didn't make Jagannath at all. We just held on to the hammers and the chisels, and Jagannath manifested underneath the hammer and the chisel. And the proof of it was that none of us had ever done such a thing ever. Make chairs, make beds, could not make deities. So that was expertly carried out. And last, the 26th quality is silent, Mona. But I said the other day, this Mona is also Mayavad. The difference is when Mayavad goes Mona, he doesn't say anything. But Mona for a Vaishnava means he doesn't speak nonsense. He doesn't just talk nonsense. Even sometimes when talking about worldly issues, news, terrorism, war, economics, politics. Devotees may talk about those things because they must be aware of the world they live in, but at a point devotees will say, okay, enough. Let's go back to where we began. We're interested in Krishna. They will not just go on and talk. You don't see that. Huh? And sometimes I've seen people standing, talking. What are they talking about? What could they possibly be talking about? On. This two guys, they talked all the way from India to Amsterdam. 8.5 hours. They didn't shut up. I thought, what are they talking about? But they found so many interesting things in this temporary world to talk about. So the devotee is more silent. He talks about what is important, what is relevant to this world, he will talk. What is important, he will talk. But just not going on and on talking. And particularly, he does not talk nonsense. He speaks about Krishna and Krishna-related things. And that is called silence. If you try to make the mind silent and do nothing, you are now in a losing battle. Your mind even works when you're asleep. It's working 24/7. It never stops. Silence the mind to think about Krishna, to think about Krishna's service. And all the things related, Krishna's devotees, Krishna's service, all these things. Then the mind is silenced. So these are the 26 qualities of the devotee of Krishna. And if you study to what extent you made the life of Srila Prabhupada and many other great acharyas, you'll find that they exemplified all of these 26 qualities in their person. Go Premanandi, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.